Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Rocking the Spectrum. So my name is Jasmine. If you're new here, welcome. I do have two other videos pertaining to the IEP problem that we've had this year. If you would like to watch those, they have more information. I'll link them down below. So this video, we're going to be talking about the third meeting regarding Christian's goals that were not written properly and regarding the hours that they're trying to cut for Christian in speech because they're saying that he's not focusing enough to get those hours. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so a week and a half leading up to this, I had decided, well, actually right after that last meeting, I decided that I wasn't going to come to another meeting if they weren't going to give me the hours by myself. So I did have my BCBA with me, and she was a lot of help. She's the one that helped them write out the goals the way that they should be for Christian in order to be reachable. So what I decided to do is I decided to go through FEAT, F-E-A-T, which is our autism advocacy organization here in Nevada, and I contacted them. So I want to give information on the whole advocacy thing. I decided to get an advocate. I wanted Cheryl specifically because she is known here in Nevada to be one of the best and is able to get a lot of things that the kids need in the classroom when she goes to the IEP meetings. So my BCBA had been in contact with her just briefly, just describing certain things that happened in the last meetings and getting some input from her. So I decided to go through FEAT. All you had to do was fill out an application for a advocate through the FEAT program, and what they do is they have you fill out the information. They have you send them an email with the diagnosis of autism, so something, either an IEP that says that he has autism or his official diagnosis. You email it to that organization, and then once you do that, you also have to do a $25 donation that covers the advocacy fee. So I did all of that. It was very easy. I talked to the person on the phone. She said that usually they need a little bit of time to be able to attend the meeting because they need to make sure that they have they are available that day, because that person, Cheryl, was very busy. So as well as that, I asked them if I should contact Cheryl, if they should, and she said I could contact her, but they will contact her as well. So I decided to just contact her. I contacted Cheryl, and I contacted her phone. I tried calling her, but on her voicemail said it's best to text. So it was kind of unorthodox because she did respond to the text I sent her, but it was kind of not like, hi, we can discuss this over a meeting. It was just kind of like questions, very, very like little questions like, what did they say in this IEP? Did you say to have this done? Did you do this? It was just very basic questions, and that was it. And it was like on and off. Like one day she would reply, the next day she wouldn't, the other day she would reply, the next day she would ask me a question. But in between all of that, she was already in contact with Melissa, which is the BCBA, and Melissa gave her the information of what was going on in the IEP, and as well as Cheryl gave her the dates that she was available. So we were in the process of getting the advocate. When I went to pick Christian up, I was talking to the teacher, and the teacher mentioned the next IEP meeting will be next Thursday at 7:15. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that doesn't work for me because I do have the dates right here and the availability for myself and my advocate, since I'm going to be bringing an advocate. That's what I said. And then she looked at me like, oh. And then at that moment is when she's like, oh, by the way, we actually talked as a team and we decided to let Christian keep his hours for speech. And so I just found it so crazy that after I said I'm getting an advocate, she decides to bring up the subject of speech. Like if it was something, I would lead with, great news, we got the speech hours or something like that, or maybe a phone call. So then I was like, oh, that's crazy, really? And she's like, yeah, we spoke as a team, we all want what's best for Christian. I think we just had to sit down and talk it out. But also, like, isn't that what an IEP is for parents and teachers and the people that are involved to sit down and talk, not just them? Whatever. And I was like, that's great news, like that's what we were fighting for. I was like, well, in that case, if you guys are going to keep Christian's speech hours, then I can come to this meeting at 7:15 without my advocate. And she's like, yeah, we got the hours. I was like, all right, so then that sounds fine. I was talking to my BCBA, and she was also like, that sounds weird, like, why would she just tell you that? And usually teachers aren't the ones that tell you when something has been resolved. But I was like, yeah, I know. What do you think? Should we get Cheryl to still come with us, or should we kind of like go? And if they're still BSing us about the hours, then we'll be like, all right, well, here are the availabilities. We'll go with our advocate, She was like, yeah, I talked to Cheryl, and she said we could go ahead and go without her and see how that goes. And if they give us any problem, then we'll talk to Cheryl again. I was like, all right. That was leading up to going to this IEP meeting. So going to this IEP meeting, I felt not so much like what's going to happen with the hours. It was more like they better not be lying to me, because then I'm gonna bring my advocate. So I kind of, in my mind, it was kind of like, we're getting the hours. But in the other side of my mind, I was like, but if we're not, we're going to get that advocate. So I go drop off Christian, and I'm waiting in the waiting area with Melissa, the BCBA. We finally get to go back there. And oh my God, the district person, I don't know, the one that was kind of mean, she is talking to me, and she says, oh, hi, good morning. So did you get a call from, I forgot her name, the speech pathologist? And I was like, no. She was like, oh, she was supposed to get in contact with you. I was like, yeah, I never got a call. So, I was like, okay. I would have loved to call, but she was like, all right. And then the other people come in, which is the general teacher, the vice principal, his teacher, and then, it's Melissa, myself, and the other lady in front of us. And they're just going over all the goals that we revised, and she's explaining everything, how she wrote it down. And we're agreeing it's good, it's good, it's good. And then there's just like one or two errors in the way that something is written out, the way that it says the PEC system device is going to be from home to school was supposed to be changed to he has a communication device at school that he needs to use. And another thing is we're going to have home to school communication, teacher to parent communication. So they did those little adjustments. And then they're going through like all of the other paperwork, the hours per classroom, the hours per daily living skills and communication skills. And then she kind of goes fast, and Melissa is like, oh, the hours for speech, those are going to be 240. And then she's like, yeah, 240, which is what we've had, so not lowered. And then I just thought it was kind of funny. We were like, oh, perfect, great. Thank you so much for cooperating and appreciate your help, But it's like they didn't want to make a big deal out of it. It's like they said, all right, we'll give it to you, whatever. But they didn't want us to feel like we won. Like, that's the vibe I got. I don't even care. I was like, cool, yes, it's on the IEP. So then after that, she went to make the adjustments. The main person, the one that was kind of mean, God, I keep saying that, but that's like the only way I can describe her. The lady that's from the district that's kind of mean. She went to make the changes because she had to print it out correctly. And while she was doing that, the vice principal and the general ed teacher and my Christian's teacher, we were all discussing how we were going to do the Class Dojo, which is an app that you can communicate parent to teacher. We decided that was the best way. So they were helping her set that up, and the vice principal was explaining how we're going to try to put all of his IEP goals pretty much on the Class Dojo app, and she could go ahead and daily just tell me how he did with this that day, how he did with that. So I was like, perfect, thank you so much, that's amazing. So when she came back with a corrected IEP, we finally all signed. The hours were there. I felt so anticlimactic because I was like, I'm gonna get an advocate. I'm going to fight for this. We did fight so hard for it. And then for them to just kind of be like, okay, you get your hours, which is great. I just felt like my adrenaline still wasn't, it was still there. And I was like, it was done, So I'm so happy that it got done. This meeting felt so easy simply because it was just going over the goals that we finally all agreed upon, and the speech hours were finally agreed upon. They said that they're going to try to work on more smaller tasks, smaller communication goals during speech to not overwhelm him as like a group setting. So at least they're trying. So I simply wanted to make this last video to kind of explain, like the process of getting an advocate was very easy, and the last meeting was easy, but honestly, like having to go to 2 IEP meetings that were tabled, having to try to discuss why my son needs this, like how his focus shouldn't be an issue, how coming back when he's older makes no sense because he is part of his autism, like he's always had trouble focusing. He's always had trouble with, engaging in like eye contact to the task. I see that, we all see that, but it doesn't mean that you cut the hours. It means you try to find a way to work around it or try to find a way that works for Christian. So my husband always says too, and my husband didn't go this time. That's so late that I'm saying this, but my husband didn't go because it was Thursday and he works on Thursday. So it was me and Melissa, which was fine because he went to the most important ones. My husband was saying that it's so unfortunate. It sucks that like, why did we have to go through this? Like why did we have to beg for these hours and tell him like why he needs to keep these hours for them to just be like, all right, we agree, and I was trying to tell him what I think is they do this to so many kids, and so many people don't have the resources or don't have the support that I had, like my BCBA that knows, like, hey, this is not okay. A lot of parents, for either like not fear, but the discomfort, because it is discomforting to have to fight for this, and like, what can you say? And us as parents, we don't really know all that we can get for our kids. I just want you guys to know that an IEP meeting is a group of people that deal or come in contact with your kids, and they're supposed to be helping your kids, and they're there to help you, to make this plan to help your son. And if they're not, they're helping you, you can definitely fight it. You have a process that you can go through, and it's okay to fight it, and express why you're fighting, and express what you need for your son. And don't be scared to get an advocate, because if you need help, get it. There's help out there. You are just a parent, and I am just a parent, and I don't know all the rules, like I said, but we need to fight for this, because we went to the first meeting hopeful, and we came out like so shocked at like, why would they cut them for that? We went to the second meeting, and we were pushing, we were explaining like why he needs this, and like no, and we're like, yes he does, we're gonna table it. And it felt so overwhelming and so disheartening. And we went into this third one, and they pretty much said, all right, we'll give it to you. But I was ready to go through an advocate, and that advocate was saying, if we can't get these hours, you have to think about, are you gonna take it to the due process? Are you willing to take it to court? And that's something that I was thinking about. I'm like, gosh, like would I take it to court? That's more money. Are they even going to implement it? Like, it's something so pressing to your brain, to your mind, like stressing. But just think positive. Don't think, oh, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't know how, because they want you to think that way, I feel like. But fight for your kids' rights, because I was ready to go to a certain point, and it never got there. So just think positive, fight, know what you're fighting for. Christian, yes, he doesn't have great focus. We all see that. But it doesn't mean that you cut the hours. We try to find ways around it. We try to work with Christian. Work to where it benefits him. Don't just cut hours. Don't just say he'll focus later. So I'm just so happy that it worked out for us right now. My main thing right now is I hope that they're implementing it correctly. I know for sure he's not going to that school next year. I'm trying to look for better schools. There's a good school that's like 20 minutes away in the freeway, so that's very far away for us. But I'm wanting to really consider, because I do have means to transportation to take him. I just want what's best for him, and like I'm so happy that his hours were kept. That's pretty much it. Like, we did it, like I'm like, babe, we have to go celebrate today. That was crazy. Like, just thinking back to the other two meetings, how hard we had to fight. This one is so like, all right, we just signed, we got it together. But they pretty much were just like, all right, we'll give you your hours. Most important thing that I could recommend is take somebody that you trust. Take somebody that knows the ins and outs, or like the goals more. Like, I would say take your BCBA, take your your social worker, take an advocate, take somebody that is gonna support you. Because if I was there alone, I don't know. I just don't know how I would have done. I thanked my BCBA so much. I'm like, thank you so much for your support. It, like, just having that support, knowing that there's a person there that's backing me up, that is professional. My husband, I needed him there too, because he's like, like my support, but like the professional support was just great. So please take somebody that you trust. IEP meetings are easy when it's a team that you feel is working with you, but never feel like, oh, I don't want to get in the bad side of my son or daughter's teacher, because they shouldn't feel attacked if they're doing their job right. And I think my former teacher also, Miss Maya, because I got in contact with her, and I was just like, Miss Maya, this is what's happening. And she's like, yeah, definitely look, fight it, try to get, don't let them cut his hours. We were just in communication, and I feel so blessed that I have all these people that I could go to, that I consider my friends, so, and you guys, just venting out here, talking to you guys. I appreciate you guys. And I thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that these videos help somebody out there, even if it's a person that's dealing with it 6 months from now. I hope you can come back to these videos and see that you can fight it and you can win, and you don't have to go to court. So you may have to, but you don't, let's think positive, and you don't have to. Just keep pushing for what you feel your son or daughter needs. So yeah, thank you so much. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And if there's anything I could do to help you guys, I'm always here to talk to you guys or lend a hand with whatever I can do. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.